Welcome to Gourmet Apocalypse. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to tell you guys what the very best thing I planted this summer was, and what you may want to plant next year if you are in a drought zone. I'm in the hill country of Texas, and we had a really intense drought and extreme high heat this summer. And there was one thing that really succeeded and thrived in my garden and is also a superfood. And I'm going to share some information with you about that today and some reasons why you may want to consider to plant that in your yard this coming summer. This right here is called a Kiwano melon. It's also known as an African horned melon. Now, what's interesting about this melon, not only it's a superfood, but originally it grows in Africa. And it grows in one of the hottest and driest regions in the entire world, the Kalahari Desert. And this melon is actually one of the few sources of water in the Kalahari Desert. So this is, to me, something that is probably untampered with, ungenetically changed, and some kind of pure African food that us in the United States might not be used to eating simply because it's expensive to import it into our country. And there's not very many people who actually grow it on an industrial scale. So if you are to find one of these in your grocery store, let's say before the inflation prices took over, you may pay as much as $7 for just one of these. And since you are not probably familiar with it, you're more than likely going to pass this up. However, if you live in Texas or Arizona or Nevada or Oklahoma or California, any of these regions, this would be so easy for you to grow with minimal water, low maintenance. All you really need for this is time and some space. You could also plant these as sort of a deer guard fence if you have issues with deer or rodents. Since this has little spikes all over it, and also the actual stem of the plant is filled with these cactus-like hairs, most animals don't go near it. But for humans, as long as you're careful, and if you're sensitive skin, if you wore leather gloves to harvest and maintain this plant, that would be a very relatively easy plant for you to grow and get a lot of yield out of it, as well as a lot of nutrition. So as far as the Kiwano melon and its superfood nutritional qualities, I'm going to just do a quick nutritional review for you so you have some idea of what I'm talking about. So this is per one melon. That's considered one serving. So it has 92 calories, 16 grams of carbs, 3.7 grams of protein. And this is the nutrition for your daily intake. So for a melon, I would say that's pretty impressive. It has 2.6 grams of fat. It has 18% of your recommended daily intake of vitamin C. So you all know how crucially important vitamin C is for our overall health and our immune system. So this is very key. It has 6% of your recommended daily intake of vitamin A, 7% of B6, 21% of your recommended daily intake of magnesium, 13% iron, 8% phosphorus, 7% zinc, which is another key immune system, health, overall health, necessary supplement usually people take, 5% potassium, and 3% calcium. So one simple melon for breakfast every day, for example, there are a number of very easy and cool ways to eat this, and it can really do wonders for your overall health and make sure you're getting a variety of these vitamins and mineral contents. Um, so again, just another reason to grow this plant next summer. So, how easy exactly is it to grow this beautiful Kiwano melon? First, start with some seeds, usually ordered from a small heirloom seed company. I ordered mine from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. I'm not advertising on their behalf, that's just where I happen to order mine from. Once you order them once, as you all know, you can seed save for years to come. So I started 2 plants early on inside around February time, and I really wasn't sure what I was going to get from this plant, to be honest with you, because the information that I read initially about it wasn't a lot to tell me how quick this was going to grow. So it did take off similar to like a pickle plant. So I did need to put some small trellis in the pot indoors at some point. But when it was warm enough, I moved it outdoors, and it took about 2 months for it to start to produce flowers on it. So it does take some time, and I would say it took about 4 months total before I harvested my first one. So this plant grows similar to a cucumber or a melon vine. You can trellis it, or you could grow it on a fence. You could grow it up a tree. There are a variety of ways. It's up to you as to what you feel is best for your garden setup. If you are in a rural area and you have a problem with deer or rodents, then I would definitely recommend growing it on a fence, because that will just make your life easier, and it will naturally repel those animals from whatever's inside your garden. So there's that benefit. And if you have a smaller space, then of course you can just trellis it. That's what we did in our case. But even the trellis that we built, this plant definitely exceeded that space and grew upwards and beyond and extended over our fence line and down each direction of our fence. And I was constantly pruning and maintaining it. So this really, really, really did take off. And we had temperatures in our area as high as 120 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer. And I'm telling you, this thing not only survived, but it thrived. So again, I highly, highly recommend, if you're a gardener or if you really like to grow exotic, cool foods, you should grow this Kiwano melon. When I was first researching the Kiwano melon, as my plant started to take off and I wasn't sure exactly when I should harvest them or what to expect from these melons, the very first thing I noticed was a lot of gardeners are telling people to not grow this plant. Now, that's something that I just can't understand personally. After reading about all of its nutritional value and qualities, I don't see why anyone would not want to grow this, number one. And number two, I think that the main reason why most people are deterred from growing it is because it has thorns on the actual fruit. But as you can see, I can easily handle it, and the thorns are not enough to bother someone from actually harvesting them. And when it comes to actually cutting up this fruit, a really easy way to get rid of these is just a pair of scissors and go around and cut them off, and then it's perfectly harmless. Now, another reason why people said, oh, you shouldn't grow this, is because they say it tastes similar like a cucumber, so why not just grow a cucumber? Well, again, back to the amazing nutritional properties of this versus a traditional cucumber. This will definitely sustain you a lot longer than a cucumber when you compare them on a one-to-one basis. So when it comes to what can you grow, maybe with a limited water supply someday, maybe with drought conditions, with all of the, unknown elements of the world these days, maybe you want to again consider growing the Kiwano melon.
Thanks for watching, y'all. Like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you next time.